Well, I think it's a huge victory in the sense that he was convicted and he is in custody. And, there's a minimum 5-year sentence on the most serious count he was convicted of. And so he's going to do some significant prison time.
And the maximum is, I think, 29 overall, right?
29, I believe. But that's life for him.
At this point.
I was a little surprised just in that it is an old case, the lack of forensics. It really just becomes a he said, she said case. And I thought the defense did a good job in bringing out, after these alleged incidents, these women maintained the relationships with him. And I thought jurors would have trouble with that. Obviously, at the end of the day, they found the women credible. I mean, well, it means the jurors did their job. There was some reason that they felt one of the women was stronger than the others. I mean, they really thought about each one separately, and I mean, you have to give them credit for that. And that means the defense did do a good job in discrediting her to the point where the jurors said they couldn't believe her. I think they took the position and they really argued that his power, not only the physical acts that occurred, but the way he psychologically, in a sense, abused the women and manipulated them was probably something, and again, I'd love to hear from the jurors, but something the jurors probably bought into. Because that's the only explanation to explain the back-end behavior. I mean, as a defense lawyer, that's something we argue against vehemently in any case because it is powerful. It does, in a juror's mind, back up a claim, but it has a very prejudicial effect in that they don't just look at the evidence of the alleged crime. They're now kind of going outside that box and just saying, hey, he's a bad guy. So that's probably going to be a basis of the appeal, too. Well, I mean, any evidence that came in aside from the 2 victims, that were victims, they have their right to their day in court. Everything beyond that, becomes discretionary. So I think that's where the defense is going to focus, that, this judge allowed in too much information and too many people that really had no evidence regarding what happened with these 2 women. It's not like there was the bellman who said, I saw them, or something like that. It's just other women, and that, at what point does that arise to become so prejudicial he can't get a fair trial? Appeals are difficult, and they take a long time, too. And at this point, it appears he's going to be in custody while the appeal takes place. But, it's unlikely. Appeals are unlikely in most cases. I believe the judge will probably limit, just because it could get out of hand if a lot of victims whose charges were not involved in the case decide to come forward. There will be a limited number, I believe. I think on his side there's going to be a lot of people, and he has his supporters. He's done a lot of good for a lot of people, in the industry, and I think some of them will come forward. Obviously, a lot of them are going to step back, but he's been around for a long time, and it's not all enemies. I mean, in sentencing, the idea is they take everything into account. You bring it up. I mean, now at the end of the day, do they buy it or do they don't buy it? That's another story. But yes, I mean, his health, the fact is anything over a 10, 12-year sentence is going to be a life sentence, in all likelihood. And so, yes, they will, believe me, the defense is going to bring up his medical issues, and at what point is enough enough? Now, there's a roadmap on how you can win this kind of case. And I think that's definitely, if he had been acquitted across the board, LA would have had to reevaluate. But now they've got a roadmap to conviction. That's not surprising. They're not going to let him bring in a cane or a walker. I mean, they need to. They'll put him on a wheelchair, and then they'll evaluate him on their own. I mean, once you're in the prison system, they have their own medical treatment, and he'll go to an infirmary, he'll be evaluated, and then they'll decide where is the appropriate place to keep him. Absolutely, it does. You're going to see more attempts at these types of trials. I think more people will come forward. I mean, there's always the fear of coming forward, going through a trial, getting, beat up and humiliated, and then not getting that verdict. Now that they see it can be done, I think more people will come forward and definitely empower the movement.